Strategies for gaining clients. This is where we start to go into the sub-strategies. Yesterday was like a foundational day. We laid a foundation. Now we're going to try and show you how to take that information out into the market to help you get clients. It's a very worthy goal, no? Okay, so we're going to talk some sub-strategies, and then we're going to go right into the tactics, and then the whole rest of the day is tactics, tactics, tactics. It's all kinds of ways of getting clients. We'll go over 100 plus ways of getting clients. So time to get clients, the nitty-gritty of getting clients, step by step, creating a marketing and sales activity calendar, 7 months of marketing, time to build an actual plan. So we're going to make it official, but we'll begin to list action items, and we'll get you working a marketing calendar here. And when you leave here, you're going to have a full battle plan, minus some research you might want to do, you know what I mean? But you're going to be ready to go out for battle and go get clients. So as we go through this, I want you to mark your ideas down for that calendar, and then later on, tomorrow, we'll give you the calendar, and then we're going to spend a great portion of the day filling in that calendar, getting you guys tuned up and ready to go. So how does that ultimate strategic position, that's what I call your USP, not your unique selling proposition, that's an internal focus, but how does your ultimate strategic position translate to revenue gains at the tactical level? So we're going to cover targeting best buyers and building loyalty. It's a concept I've helped more companies double sales using this one thing than anything else, and I'll give you lots of examples. Stack marketing, again, making all of your marketing weapons work together, which most companies don't do very well or don't do at all. And then the most potent form of marketing we're going to cover, and if you don't already know what that is, we're definitely going to show you. You're going to tell me. And then repetition is the real key to success. So let's get right into one of the best concepts you'll ever hear or learn or see for growing your business. It's what I call the Dream 100 concept. And what it basically means is that in most of the B2B plays that I've been in, typically if there was 100 clients that if you got them all, you could just dramatically increase your business. And when I went to work for Charlie, he had a list of, first magazine I had a list of 2,200 advertisers, and when I did an analysis of the market, 167 of them bought 95% of all the advertising in the industry, and like none of them were in the magazine that we had. So we're number 15 in the industry, and we started, and what they used to do is do a monthly campaign to 2,200 that was kind of wimp and weak. They'd send out a letter or a promotional piece or a newsletter or something. So what I did is I took that same budget of $2,200 a month or whatever it was they were spending, and we spent it on 167 executives a month. And so suddenly people who'd never heard of us before are hearing from us so intensely from every single direction that within 6 months we had 29 of them in the magazine. It was amazing. Biggest advertising success story in the whole industry, let alone in that particular magazine. So the fastest way to build your business is to target the best clients. Every market niche has a smaller number of ideal buyers versus all buyers. And the problem with most people when they're marketing is they go after all buyers. And that may be appropriate for you too. I'm not saying to abandon whatever your current strategy is, but while you're doing your current strategy, can we add a small number of ideal buyers that you will market to way more intensively? I'm going to give you a ton of ideas on this. So the best buyers buy faster when other best buyers buy. If you can say that 3 times fast, you're doing well. But the point is that you can play them off of each other. So let me give you an example, just as a really good example. If you wanted to sell something to law firms, and you went after the 5 biggest law firms all at once, I had a software client that sold software products to law firms, and they were, so let me set up what a law firm. Basic structure of a law firm, you have a managing partner. It's kind of like the CEO of the company, but he has an executive committee. It's probably the worst management structure in the world, by the way. And then you have the senior partners of specialty. So you might have a litigator, you might have intellectual property, you might have, all these different specialties. And then you have the lawyers below them, paralegals, and librarian, MIS, and acquisition directors are down here. Well, most of the people who go in to sell, in this case, they were selling research products for the lawyers. And that's the librarian's responsibility, but you see where she is on the decision process. She can't even, and I say she, which sounds sexist, but like 98% of librarians in law firms were women. And she cannot get to these senior partners even. So if you've got a revolutionary kind of product and you want to go in and see the librarian, you can probably get an appointment and you can probably really impress her. But her ability to get that product seen by the senior partners of these specialties or by the managing director is really low. It's kind of like any CEOs in the room. If you have a lower level executive in your office, they will spend an hour and a half learning something from somebody and try to explain to you in 5 minutes. Am I right? Right, Bob? How many times a guy comes to you? It's in 5 minutes he wants to explain something he learned for an hour and a half, and you'll make a decision on that 5 minutes, not on the hour and a half. So what we designed was the core story concept, educational seminar about the 5 most dangerous trends facing law firms, and we called this guy right here the managing partner, but we got the names of, like, not the top 5, but the top 50 law firms in Los Angeles, and we called them and name-dropped all the other law firms to them. So a great strategy of going after dream clients is that other dream clients become interested when other dream clients are interested. So I don't remember all the names now, but I used to be able to rattle them off, you know, like McCutcheon and Doyle and Munger and Tolles and, you know, all the big law firms in L.A. And if you mention them to each other, they become interested right away. The beauty of law firms, and this is sort of off point, but lawyers are not trained to make decisions. They're trained to spot the issues. You know, most lawyers are not very good at decision making. Judges make decisions, clients make decisions, lawyers look at all the issues. So, you know, they're a group of followers. No offense intended. I know we have a couple lawyers in the room. But they are. And so, you know, before they would give off Martin Luther King Day, all the other law firms would call all the other law firms to see what other law firms are doing because none of them can make decisions about anything. And I just remember that when that was going on because I was involved in that industry. So when you call any large law firm, or if you sell to stockbrokers or you sell to, I don't care, you sell to telephone companies like you do, playing other large companies off of each other or other large executives, top executives off of each other is a very powerful strategy. And watch how you use it. You can say, yeah, hi, I'm calling you because we put together this research report and it's about the 5 most dangerous trends facing law firms, and we're, you know, very successful in this industry, and this is one of our ways of giving something back, and we're on the cutting edge of technology, and so we're showing how these 5 dangerous trends can either put law firms out of business or send you to the stars depending upon how well you are armed or unarmed with this information. And, you know, we're also talking to, and then you name a bunch of other ones. Now, notice how I said that. And we're also talking to, what does that mean we're talking to them? Not much. You know, we're talking to them. We're not saying they're seeing us yet, you know. And then, of course, when you get one, then you can say to the others, yeah, we're talking to so-and-so, we're seeing so-and-so, and you try to lump them all in like it all sounds like you're seeing them all. So, again, I always say never lie, you know. Never lie, but you can mislead like crazy. But never lie. So, you know, playing them off of each other was so successful, we were able to get in front of executive committees and partner meetings at all the law firms and took this product from obscurity to the top of the market in about 2 years flat. So they were selling for years down here, and we got them more in 2 years than they got in 50 years selling down at the librarian level. All right, so that's the strategy. It's like, who are the best buyers? Can you play them off of each other? Because if you name drop them, and again, have the names of the executives. So we'll have a little exercise we'll put you through. Just a few minutes. It's in front of you, but hold on. And you must play them off of each other, as it says here. So here's the telecom one I've been talking about as a perfect example. They came to me because they had made the decision that they weren't getting enough leads and enough appointments. So they said, darn it, you know what we're going to do? We're going to send a letter to every single prospect in our area. And they sell phones to businesses. So they basically did a DMB, you know, search, and there were 20,000 businesses in their area. They sent out 20,000 mail pieces, got not a single response, not one, nothing. So they came to me, you know, like, what do we do? What do we do? So I get the list of their sales from the previous year. They had 118 sales or something, and I'm going down and I'm just looking at the prices of the sales. You know, there's 22,000, 28,000, 26,000, 28,000, 32,000, 28,000, all like 20s and 30,000. Then come one that says 160,000. So I go, what's this? They go, well, that's a bigger company. They go, so the way telephone systems work is if you have 100 employees, you need 100 phones, and each phone on your desk is about $1,000. So if you have 100 employees, it's going to be a $100,000 sale. If you have 32 employees, you're going to have a $32,000 sale. So they were going after mostly small companies, and occasionally they would get a bigger company, and my natural reaction was, why don't we just go after only big companies? Well, we could do that. They just never really thought of it. They're going to spend all that time and energy. You might as well be going after, 150 employees and 350 employees. So we took the 20,000 down and we said, how many companies in your geographic region, what's it called, Peter? Data.com? Say it again? Zapdata.com. You can go on there and in 10 seconds you can get how many companies with how many employees in any industry, right? And so you just, it's Zapdata, it's Dun & Bradstreet. It's owned by Dun & Bradstreet, right? And so, it's Dun & Bradstreet lists, and you can go on there and go, give me companies with 100 and more employees in the central Pennsylvania region where they are, and there were 2,000 of them. So I said, all right, well, what's another criteria under which someone would buy telephone systems? And they go, well, if their system is old, they may have a system that the maintenance cost of that system is costing them more than if they replaced it with a brand new system. In other words, the maintenance cost is costing them more than the lease payments would be on a brand new system that enables them to do 10 times things they wouldn't do. Plus the new systems, my telecom guys, is that you guys? Telephone? Some of the new systems give them greater and better access and lower access to the lines, right? Something like that. I remembered something about that. Anyway, so we started the magazine, Superior Communications. And they got on the phone and they called all 2,000 of them. They had 4 salespeople. Took 2 days. They each called 300-400 people with 2 questions. Yeah, hi, I'm calling from Superior Communications, and we do our annual survey once a year. We just want to know what kind of phone system do you have? Oh, we have a Centrex. Do you know how old that system is? Well, I've been here for 10 years, and it's here since I've been here. Okay, thanks. Boom, off the phone. So within 2 days, we found out there were 508 companies with phone systems in their geographic regions that are 5 years old or older. Anything 5 years old they figured would be a good play. And remember we said buying now, there's always a percentage that are buying now. So among those 508 companies, pretty good chance there's somebody buying right now. That doesn't mean they're going to beat a path to your door. That doesn't mean if you send a direct mail piece, because remember they sent out 20,000 and we know the 3% of those guys were probably buying a new phone system or needed one. They didn't get a single response. So just because people are buying now doesn't mean you're going to get their attention unless you make a point to do that. So we send out a Rubik's Cube to 508 companies, and I'll show you later how to buy those, 40 of them, or 100 of them for 40 bucks. He sells them over here. I don't think you can beat those prices, though. We sent out a Rubik's Cube, and it said something like, puzzled about, your high cost of telecom and voice and data spending. We guarantee to find you 9 ways to reduce cost in this. Or we'll give you a $5,000 gift for your trouble. That was our proposition. I'll explain it a little bit better later. So they sent it out. They got only 1 response. 355 employees. The biggest sale in the history of the company. We then called behind the offer and got another 15 appointments. And within 6 weeks, these guys had more business in play than they had all last year. All big deals. So that's the concept of the Dream 100. I mean, it's just, and I say 100, it could be for you, it's 1,200, it's 2,000. I'll give you lots of examples. So I said all this. Employee benefits company. In this case, this is a company that sells health insurance, life insurance, workers' compensation insurance to corporations. And we did a 2-tier strategy with them because going after big companies takes a little longer. This is a pretty substantial company. But again, their salespeople are going after all small companies because they were easy to get to. So we picked 700 big ones, not 100, 700 that he thought were dream clients. They went out and they basically increased sales. They had been flat for about 5 years when I came along, and again, they're a big company. So what happened is there was a turnover of accounts. They get an account, they lose an account, they get an account, they lose an account. But since they're mostly going after small accounts, there was no big thing that would happen. So they kept going after the smaller ones, but we started sending gifts, and I'll explain that in a minute, to these 700 big ones every 2 weeks. and their sales are up 60% this year over last year. Just huge, and they're a big company. So, I mean, to grow 60% in 1 year is just a phenomenon. So that's the concept, guys. It's like go after some dream clients in an intense way, and if it's a small number, it doesn't cost a lot of money. In their case, sending out, $2 or $3 mailers twice a month is an expensive $1,500 a month, or whatever it is, a couple $1,000s a month. It's nothing to them. So it was not that big of a deal. They didn't do a fantastic job at the calling behind that, but it didn't matter because within 3 months, every single person on the list knew exactly who they were, and some of them were calling them because why? There's always 3% buying now. Always. So food allergy testing. I think for you guys, this is where I told you, Terry, I had some breakthroughs for you. I think the big play for you guys is with the insurance companies. Going after them and helping them get their clients to institute, as I mentioned yesterday, is a food allergy testing company where they cure 50 chronic conditions from food allergies. And most people have no idea. I mean, I look at this company, I say, you guys should be $1 billion. And I'm standing here as a person who's had that test. I told you they cured my daughter of irritable bowel syndrome and my son of ADD. So really great, phenomenal thing, but they're kind of like trying to sell one doctor at a time. The big play would get Blue Cross to say, wow, we want everybody who has migraine headaches, who keep going back to doctors and getting prescriptions and, costing us a fortune here, to go and take this food allergy test because they'll tell you what a migraine headache, what's causing the migraine headaches, and you'll never have them again. Cured like 20,000 people of migraine headaches. And in fact, they guarantee it because if they don't cure it, their test is free. So that's the big play there. And then specialty groups like the internist groups or diet centers or migraine specialists or things like that. That's like I'm just trying to show you there's all kinds of applications of the Dream 100. Now, to make the sale to those insurance companies, you need a core story just for them. You understand? And then you need a top-down selling effort like I just showed you, where you go after the biggest 10 of them all at once. And you'll get in at the executive committee level if you can make them think everybody else is seeing it, and you're going to radically change cost of health care in the country today. I mean, you actually have the potential. So think big. Carpet cleaning, best neighborhood strategy, upscale building management, dry cleaner affiliates. And again, I just put these here to try and stimulate you guys, but also just while I was doing this, I was trying to help some of my good friends in the audience. But I have a real estate broker in our marketplace, and this is Marin County is the most expensive real estate in the country, or I think the number 1 or number 2 in the country. And this real estate broker made a commitment to the 2,200 homes in our neighborhood, which I'm not bragging, I'm just telling you clinically that the houses are expensive. And the only reason I said that is because I had got a comment on one of the things. He bragged about how much his house cost. I wasn't bragging. I'm just saying that this woman decided to go after 2,200 upscale homes. And, if you're a real estate broker and a house is $1 million, it's a $60,000 commission when you sell it. And so I've lived in this neighborhood for 11 years, and every single month for 11 years, I've been getting a flyer telling me all the houses for sale in the neighborhood. Now, when do I look at that flyer? Only when I'm interested in selling my house. So this past summer, we decided to sell our house. That's exactly who we called. This woman has what's called top-of-mind awareness. So somewhere along the line, she made the commitment that she wants these 2,200 homes to know who she is. Now, what's that cost her? Let's just do the math. There's 2,200 homes. She sends a very simple threefold thing. It's like it comes all by itself like this. Got the little plastic thing sealing it, and that's it. You open it up, that's the whole mailer, right? 1 page, not 3. And it just lists the houses in the neighborhood that have sold and what the prices are, which again, the only time you're interested in that is if you're trying to sell your house. You want to see what are the, what are the houses selling for. And so 2,200 homes, let's say it's 60 cents out the door, costs her $1,100 a month. If she gets 1 client a year, it pays for it. But she doesn't just get 1 client a year. So when we went to sell, we had her come over to the house, and she brings a book with her, and in the book, there's pages, I mean like 20 pages of homes in our neighborhood. She has sold every house in the neighborhood, and next to most of the homes, it says, sold twice, sold 3 times, sold twice. She had listed ours and never sold it. But, I mean, you just say, who are you going to list with if you're going to sell your house? So that's best neighborhood strategy. Toy store, that's a great concept for you. You know, what are the best neighborhoods in your marketplace, and is it worth it for you to have some kind of consistent effort to them? Is it worth it for you, and I'll show you how to buy toys really, really cheap from a website where you can get them just from China, and they're just ridiculously cheap. You could actually send a toy to every single home in your neighborhood. It's going to cost you about $1 a piece out the door. Just pick 2,200 homes. A couple $1,000 with a mailer. You'd really get someone's attention if you're a toy store. So that's the best neighborhood strategy. Paul, I was just thinking for you, you know, I've said this before, you actually haven't done it, but upscale buildings, if he does carpet cleaning and rug cleaning, to have to pick 100 upscale buildings and stay in the face of the building manager, and they can have, like, that building has an official, you know, carpet cleaning company that they recommend on a regular basis. So that's the whole concept. It's like, let's go after who are our dream clients. So we're going to do a little profile on that. Restaurant or retail, same thing. Oh, I've got a big section on that. So targeting the best buyers. Who's your most ideal buyer or ideal partner or affiliate? Because sometimes it's not best buyer. It might be affiliate. So is there an affiliate that could send you more business than you could handle if you got them? And again, you know, I am here because, well, in the case of Jay Levinson, we hired him a couple of times. I hired him as a speaker, and that's how I ended up getting here. But then, and I should have said this with him here and acknowledged him, but when I was out traveling and selling my programs directly to Fortune 500 for very large fees, I couldn't really think, you know, Jay was like, look, Chet, you know, you got great stuff, and you should put it on a training video and, you know, sell it to the masses. And I'm like, you know, I'm getting $1 million to sell this to Fortune 500. You know, what am I going to get from the masses? You can't sell, I don't care how good it is, a video-based training program for, you know, I mean, you can maybe get $5,000 or $6,000 for it, you know, if it's fantastic. And so he said, well, would you rather sell 1 million people a $5,000 training program or sell, you know, 50 people a $1 million training program? And you do the math there, it's astronomical. So anyway, he convinced me. And he did an endorsement mailing on my first video training program to his list. And I think I mentioned this yesterday. We got an 8% response. 8% just sent in checks and bought this program. I thought that was fantastic. So I realized right then and then I needed more affiliates. That was a way easier way to sell, because if I call you cold and you have no idea who I am, I got to work so hard to get your attention and win your respect. But if Jay Levinson writes you a letter and says, look, I checked this guy out, and he is fantastic, and you need to check out his stuff, and, you know, it's the best stuff I've ever seen, and et cetera, which is what his letter basically said. And we got an 8% response because of that endorsement. So I thought to myself, so how many people familiar with Jay Abraham? Practically the whole room. Okay. So I went after Jay Abraham. You know what it took me to get him to work with me? 2 years of my best stuff every week. Do you know how much money I've made from my relationship with Jay Abraham? I do not even want to tell you. It's a lot, okay? But it took 2 years. So, and then there just was a point where he started to respect me because I was in his face so much. So that's the whole other aspect of the Dream 100 is don't give up if they don't respond after 3 weeks. They're the Dream 100. They're going to take you some time to get in their face in a way that they start saying, well, who is this Bianca person who I just keep hearing from? And you just raise up the level of respect. So there's no client in the world, no person in the world that you can't make know exactly who you are if you're committed and you're willing to do something on a regular and consistent basis. It's how I got all my Fortune 500 clients. I picked the clients I want, and I went after them with such furious, you know, constant marketing that they just became, you know, they began to know who I was. And even the difficult ones, like I got Morgan Stanley. That guy was 6 months of hard work. Tough. I met him in the World Trade Center where they lost that whole 2 floors of the World Trade Center. But thank God, it was later. It was earlier, rather. All right. So let's go to the part of the workbook that says Dream 100 Sell. So at the top, you have it now. It's page 17, it says. I just handed this out. And let's just have you do that first exercise. Who are the 100, or whatever the number is, ideal prospects for building your business? In some cases, this Dream 100 could be partners or lead sources or strategic alliances. So don't just think of who your Dream 100 is, but also who your Dream 100 partners or lead sources or affiliates might be. And let's just write a profile of them. You don't have to start listing them out. I just want you to write a profile. Who are they? And then at the bottom it says, assembling the list. Who is going to do it and when will it be done? This is going to take you, I'm going to give you 60 seconds to do this. And don't even go to the next page. Just do the first page here. Just do a quick outline so that I'm stimulating your thoughts in this area. Successful, has the money to spend if they want to. This is my, sort of profile. They want or need to buy. Are they geographically convenient for you? I'm just giving you some criteria for setting up who you're, the size of the sale, how big can they buy if they want to buy, repetition of purchase. These are just criteria. Who are those affiliates? The affiliates can make a huge difference. But you have to be committed, and you just have to stay in their face. And there's no one you can't win over if you're committed. So I already gave this example. Okay, so I have that safety client I told you about, the one yesterday that had a serious problem. And after only 4 such mailers, a huge client said to one of the people, 4 such mailers, let me identify the mailers. In this thing, we're going to go over, I'll show you a website you can go and you can buy really inexpensive items, like you can get 100 flashlights for $40. So if your Dream 100 is 100, you're talking about $1.55 out the door to send, them a little gift. And what we did with these guys is we came up with little clever sayings. So we sent a flashlight. It's like, don't be in the dark about, the 5 most dangerous trends facing manufacturers when it comes to safety. And then we sent a compass, and it said, most companies are losing direction when it comes to, what I'm saying? So compass, and then we sent a tape measure, and it was like, if you want to measure up to the highest quality standards of safety, get our free report on the 5 most dangerous trends. And so after about 4 of these, just 4, every 2 weeks they went out, they call a salesperson, now is following up as you're supposed to do, and I'm going to explain that you send the gift, you make the phone call. You send the gift, you make the phone call. It's just, that's how you get, they may be saying, not interested, not interested, not interested, but eventually you just wear them down. And this guy says to one of the salespeople, says, oh yes, I'm glad you called. I just have to have you come in here and meet with me. And the salesman was so shocked. He goes, why is that? He just literally, he couldn't understand it. And the client says, because I've been getting all those letters of yours, and I just think your marketing is super. So that's what happens is, you basically win them over. The point is that you can really stand out in the crowd very quickly with great marketing. It just doesn't take that much. So here's a Dream 100 letter. This is a stopwatch. Every second that you do not get our free executive briefing, the 5 most critical insights facing, blank industry, you are losing money. This is a free blank industry community service sponsored by our firm as a way to give something back to the market. You need to have some kind of justification. Now, this letter is in this document, so you don't have to write it down. You need to have some kind of a justification for why you're doing this. Why are you giving me this free research, this free insight, these free reports? This executive briefing has more than $3 million in research boiled down to a bullet-style, fast-paced, outstanding education on how to increase business in this scary period of rising competition and other pain point. Fill in yours here. Okay? Call for your free executive briefing today. The clock is ticking and you're losing money. That's a really short letter. That's what they should be. They're not going to read the long ones anyway. But because you included a stopwatch or a little flashlight or something, it gets their attention and they read it. And because it's short, they kind of go, what's this? And now it says, this prospect smiles and some actually call you thinking the executive briefing is a report. It sounds like a report. So again, remember I said never lie, but you can mislead. This sounds like a report. Now that is a live presentation that my client will be doing if they get the chance. So it says every second you get a free executive briefing. That's what you call it, your core story. To the client, it's called an executive briefing. Okay. So let's go on. Remember, strategy before tactics. Strategy to drive leads. Can you sell a live hour-long presentation with a letter? Not likely. So if you want to approach your Dream 100 prospects and you want to get an hour of their time, the worst mistake you can make is writing that letter and saying, and again, everything I'm telling you, I learned the hard way. We'd send out a letter that said, you know, we'll come to your office live and show you this, and try to make it sound really great, and we would never get appointments with it. Salespeople had to call and work real hard, but when we made it start sounding like a report, people would call to get the free report. Now they're on the phone with you. Now you have an advantage. So remember, just trying to make sales easier and easier and easier. So don't even try. Sell free information, that's easier. So then they call. Yeah, I was calling about your free report. You. Oh, it's way better than a report. That's quote unquote what I train every single client to say when they call and say, yeah, I was calling to try and get a hold of your report. Oh, it's way better than a report. Are you kidding? It's a live executive briefing, use the same term that's in the letter, taught by one of our highly trained speakers. That sounds like a way more interesting thing just by changing the title of the rep or of the person doing it. I'll have my clients will literally say, oh, there's only 3 of us trained in the entire country to put these things on. That's because there's only 3 salespeople in the company, you know. By one of our highly trained speakers. In fact, I have a tour. That's a word you want to use. I have a tour going through your area over the next few weeks. Let me tell you how this works. And they're just listening. And you don't stop. You just keep talking. We underwrite the cost entirely. There's no cost to you whatsoever. When we have a touring speaker in your area, we arrange for them to come right to your office. You don't even have to travel. A lot of people we talk to will gather some of their key staff for the experience. The entire experience only takes about an hour, and some people set it up as a lunch and learn for key staff and hold it in their conference room. So that's a great concept, by the way. We got a lot of appointments when the guy is saying, no, I'm not interested. Your second try, actually, I put it right here as the first try, but really I always tell the rep to hold it for your second try and say, well, listen, let me ask you a question. Do you have lunch? I say, yeah, I have lunch. Well, you've ever had a lunch and learn program? And it's becoming very popular, so some of them will say, yeah, we've had a lunch and learn program. I say, well, what we'll do is we'll actually become your lunchtime entertainment. You know, we'll send one of our speakers in there. In fact, I'm one of the speakers. I've got a tour coming through your area in the next 2 weeks, and you can call your executive committee together, and you have a lunch and learn program. You bring in lunch, I'll be your entertainment. Some companies, some of my clients will even buy them lunch. What's it cost to buy 6 people lunch? You know, bring in cold cuts or sandwiches. You know, it's $10 a person. So yeah, so I've got, since you have lunch anyway, you know, we might as well set this up for you. Do you have your calendar handy? And a lot of them close right then and there. Keep rapping. I'm the manager of client education, so I'll coordinate everything, including a 1-page memo I have that outlines what will be covered, and we give you this with our compliments. It's a way to help the entire market be more successful, so it's certainly good for us. Right? That gives it justification. The information is outstanding. We retained a top research firm, and they studied some of the most advanced trends on how to be more successful in your industry. Plus, they found some dangerous trends, too, ones that you should be aware of. In any event, do you have your calendar handy? Let's see when we might have a tour over the next few weeks so we can schedule a tour in your area. Then it says, that's a specific close. You need a close. And you can't imagine how many times I'll just work the salespeople. Remember what I do. I do those hot seats every week with the sales team. And I'll say, okay, what'd you say? And then I sit down, I'm going, yeah, that's good, yeah, that's good, that's good. And they'll forget the close. They kind of say it, and then they wait for them to make the response. Close! Say something to make the close. So I tell them, do you have your calendar handy? That's the best close in the world. Do you have your calendar handy? If they say yes, what did you just do? You just closed. Yeah, I got it right here. Smile. You just closed. Okay? Did you note the title? This is strategic title. I hate the word sales in any title. Sales is about building rapport. When people think they're being sold, you are breaking rapport. But I had another client who tried this concept of providing a free education, but about 5 minutes into it, he starts pitching himself. So if you tell me you're going to come in and give me an education, and 5 minutes into it, you end up pitching yourself, it changes the dynamic entirely. Now I'm resisting because I see I'm being sold. The beauty of the core story concept is it comes just like this with this broad information down to this beautiful little funnel to where you get to the tail end of it and you say, you know what, I got a little stuff on our company. Would you like to see how we can maybe help you? No one will say no if you did a great job at the first part of the core story. So sales about building rapport, not breaking it. 2 weeks later, mail again. Here's the rules on the gifts. Should be cute, not expensive. Expensive gifts come off like you're trying to bribe them. They won't like it. I don't like it. You know, it lacks integrity. But if it's cute and inexpensive, it's cute. It doesn't offend anybody. It doesn't feel like you're bribing me. So that's good for you because if it's cute and inexpensive, what does that mean? It's going to be inexpensive. It's not going to cost you a lot of money to do it. Should be something useful that they will want to keep or play with or take home to their child. You don't know how many times when my salespeople will go in and go to one of these executives and they've got that Rubik's Cube that costs, you know, I don't know, what do I say, 40 for $1? So they're like, you get a dozen for like $5 or something. It's really inexpensive. You don't want it to look like you're bribing them. You want it to look like you're just a clever marketer, and that's all it really is, you know. And I'll give you a bunch of examples. But as I say, it should be something useful. The website I'm going to show you to, you'll find a bunch of stuff. And so I'll have clients, they'll buy the keychain that has a little $100 bill in it. You're going to throw that away. It has no value. So that's why I say a flashlight, a tape measure. They have these little toolkits for your eyeglasses. They're, you know, again, you can buy 12 for $5. So for 120 of them, it's $50. The goal is merely to stand out, to breed more brand awareness. This approach works really well, and I've used it again and again and again with every single client. Even if they do not take you up on the offers, the effort still dramatically raises your visibility and solidifies your brand. And since there's always that small percentage who are buying now, there'll be a point where they're buying and you're right in their top of mind because you're the only one sending them gifts every 2 weeks. So here it is. Just went on right before I put this together. It's called orientaltrading.com. Really cheap stuff. You know, you can't even believe it. Here you go. Magnifying glasses, 12 for $5. So you can buy 120 for $50 or 1,200 for $500. You know, I'm just trying to scale it up to however big you're trying to target, whatever your target market may be. Calculator. This is the most expensive item I'm going to show you. 12 of them for $20. So that means it costs you $200 for 120 of them. That's one of the more expensive items. But you're actually sending somebody a little calculator. It's a keychain, by the way. Calculator's like this big, but it really works. And it's cute. You're not going to throw it away. You're going to keep it. You're going to give it to your kid. You're going to... I tell the flashlight story, so half of you in the room have heard this, but when I was running trade shows for Charlie, one of the days of a trade show that we were doing, the person who sold us all our incentives, you know, these binders, and we had bags and things like this, had stopped by that day and had given me one of those flashlight pens, you know, like this. You click it and it turns on a flashlight. And I, oh, cool. And I had my daughter was 3 years old or something at the time. I go, I'll take it home to my daughter. I thought that was cool. I stuck it in my jacket. So that day we had the San Francisco earthquake of 1989. You know, and I was in my office. I was on the phone with somebody in New York. I was a reporter for the Daily News, in fact, and the earthquake came and the whole building started shaking. And I go, oh, it's an earthquake. No, it's a major earthquake. You could really feel the difference, let me tell you. So I go, I got to go. And I hang up the phone. And he, sharp, crackerjack reporter that he is, calls the newspaper to report it, you know, instead of a TV station or radio station or whatever. And I think, and if I'm not mistaken, because this is now like 15 years ago, wasn't the World Series or something on that day? You know, so like everybody found out anyway. But I was in the building, and I run to the door frame of my building because they say, get in the door frame. And I've got this big staff, and everybody's running around like they're not doing anything, just running around. So I go, get into a door frame, voice of authority. Everybody runs to my door frame, you know. It's like 50 people come running at my door frame. And this sales manager next to me works for me. He's going like this, like hogging his door frame. Don't come in my door frame. I look at the guy. I go, let him in your door frame, you know. You know. So then we go to the corridor to go down into the you know, emergency exit, and it is pitch black. I mean, the emergency lights weren't working. I mean, you can't see a thing. It is jet black. There's no windows at all. And it would be fine if the stairway went like this, but it didn't. It went like this, then you turn left, then you turn right, then you go down some more stairs, then you go this way, that way, this way. I don't know what they were doing when they built these things, and it's pitch black, and all of a sudden I remember I have this flashlight in my pocket. There's like 50 people with me. I pull out this flashlight, click. Everybody looks at me. You could see the silhouette, and they're all going, "You carry a flashlight in your pocket?" So you never know where your little gift is going to come in handy, you know? And you know if you sent me that flashlight, the next day I'm calling you up to have you come in and present whatever you have to sell. So toolkits, 12 for $12. Paddle ball, you know, the thing like the little cheap, you know, paddle ball thing. Glider, 100 for $7. Okay, so, you know, 100 plastic dinosaurs for $26. I'm just showing you, like, you can get really those gliders for 100 for $7, and they come, of course, folded, and you got to take them apart and put them together yourself. But if you want to do thousands, you know, you can even buy stuff on there. There's pencils. Where is it? Oh, here's a great one. 2-inch metal. Comes with a nice ribbon. Looks just like a medal. You know, it's got the, you know, sort of look of the, what do you call them, Olympics, thank you. Anyway, 2-inch metal, $3 each. So these are a little more expensive. So, you know, but it's still, you know, not like, but you can put 3 lines of copy on this metal. You know that thing is going to get read. You know they're going to get this metal, they're going to turn it over, and they're going to read 3 lines of 20 characters each of copy. So in that worksheet, don't go to it now, but there's a little thing where, what would you say if you're going to send one of these medals to these Dream 100 clients of yours? You know? Side thought, toy store. Send toys to 1,000 upscale homes, invite them to learn more, you know, just as I'm thinking of these things. Okay, so marketing calendar. What are you going to go, what are you going to do to your market, to your Dream 100, each and every month without fail? How do you go from, I never heard of this company, to, who's this company I've been hearing about, to, I think I've heard of that company, to, yeah, I've heard of that company, to ultimately, yeah, I do business with that company. It's just that consistency. You just have to be in their face on a regular and consistent basis. More to follow on this when we get into the marketing weapons. All right, everybody, let's do a workshop. Let's go to Workbook, Section 6. It gives a sample letter and sample dialogue from the slides. It also summarizes the importance of a campaign that you design on purpose so that your efforts are continuous. For some reason, no companies ever do this, and yet when you do, you will slaughter the competition. They just don't market and sell this well. In the middle of the page starts to give the gift ideas and asks you to write some headlines. That goes on for 8 solid pages. Take a moment now and design your campaign. There are many different sample letters for you to use. It's all there for you to figure it out. And again, your coach can give you a session that I did teaching people how to use the core story sales model. Very, very powerful. Okay, go do your work right now. The next section is called Clients for Life. And Walmart, they get $24 per visit, 17 visits per year. Average Walmart shoppers are worth about $408. Target, it's about half that. Even though they get more per visit, they get less visits. So they don't breed as much brand loyalty. This shows you might be willing to spend more money taking market share if you consider the lifetime value of client. And again, that's what we all should be trying to do here. So lifetime value of a Walmart client is twice that of a Target client. Hertz Conquest Strategy. Hertz Corporation figures an average client is worth $15,000 over a lifetime. So at only $40 per average daily rental, that turns out to be a lot of money. But if you look at it as only a $40 sale, it's not that big of a sale. So what this is trying to say is consider what the lifetime value is. I'm going to do a really good thing that explains it. So they started the gold service. How many people have Hertz Gold Service? Right? Is that great? I mean, you know, if you're a frequent traveler, when it came out 15 years ago, I was flying all over the world constantly. So, you know, there's no waiting in lines. You don't have to show a credit card. You just get there to the airport. They drop you off at your car. You get it and drive out. You show the guy at the door your driver's license and sign a thing, and you're gone. That's it. If it's cold, the car is running and the heat's on. It's great, you know. So for a busy traveler or a frequent renter, right, because I'm one of their dream clients, that just took me away from everybody else. Now all the other companies have it, but 15 years ago, it was a great preemptive strategy to take clients away from somebody else. So what can you do that will treat your clients really special? And have you considered lifetime value of customer? Okay. So this I'm just going to give you as a great retail example. And this is out of Joe's section, the duck guy I was going to call you, the duck farm. But how your restaurant can have a totally predictable success. Secrets only the best restaurants know. Lesson 1, understand lifetime value of customer. Do you know the lifetime value of your average patron? Most restaurants do not think this way. First, you should know that the vast majority of people are known as habitual buyers. They form habits easily. So only about 11% of the population, it's just little great information thought it'd be valuable to you, will try new things. 11% are just like they're out there, you know the type. They always have the newest, latest thing. They, when I have a friend of mine who, back in the days when everybody smoked, he would be the guy to always try the new brand of cigarettes every time one would come out. As the rest of people stay with the Marlboro brand that they've been smoking forever. So, but 89% stay with what's known, 11% buy new. Studies show that only 11% of buyers like to always try something new. 89% will stay with what they know and trust. Let's say that a loyal buyer dines with your restaurant once per week and spends only $40 each time. A 5-year life cycle of a habitual buyer in a restaurant at only spending $40 per week comes to $10,000. So when your waiter goes to wait on every diner, do they think in terms of this being a $10,000 customer? Yeah, you're darn straight they don't. The owner doesn't think that way. The waiters don't think that way. And so you don't get treated like a $10,000 customer, even though every single one of you, when you go, into any restaurant, you have that potential of becoming one of the habitual buyers. How many people here favor 2 or 3 restaurants all the time? Every one of us, okay? And every now and then you say, let's try something new. And you go, you try something new, and then next week you're back at your regular places you always go. Okay. And that's conservative. The 80-20 rule. So 20% of diners will drive 80% of restaurant revenue. Yes, you should treat every buyer like a $10,000 customer, but some are worth $100,000. So we can show you, this is for people, frequent diner who eats out 3 to 5 times per week, may eat at your restaurant 2 or 3 times. So there's a restaurant here in San Rafael called Seafood Peddler, and they don't know anything about lifetime value of customer, so I taught them so that they would treat me extra special when I go to their restaurant. And Peter, you went with me. Do they treat me special? Every single person in the restaurant, takes very good care of me. So I go there 3 times a week, twice a week, and I have clients come in. That's where we go, right? Took you there, David, remember? And so what have I spent there? It's, in the last 5 years, it's $100,000. Now, do you want to cultivate those kind of relationships on purpose? Like I said, they did not understand lifetime value of customer. They don't really think that way, and I don't see them treating everybody else. But if you look at every single diner as that kind of potential customer, would you treat them differently? So there's 2 lessons there. Number 1 is, should be willing to take market share in a way that your competitors will not understand. If you think about lifetime value of client, what are you willing to do to get that customer to you? And then second lesson is, what are you going to do when you get them to make sure they stay loyal to you forever? So those are 2 lessons of lifetime value of customers. Is if you're looking at them, I did a mass teleconference with a bunch of dentists, and we wrote an insert, excuse me, for them to put into their local daily newspaper. And then the next month, we hot-seated some of the dentists to see how it went. So we call this a live research laboratory. You get a couple hundred dentists on the phone, or doctors, or it's good for specific kinds of professions so that you can apply my technology to one specific industry. So we did this with dentists. We got them all on the phone, and they tried the insert, and we got one fellow and said, so, okay, who's tried it? So one guy comes on the phone. He says, I tried it. It didn't work. Didn't work? Insert designed by me to be put into the newspaper. It didn't work. So he goes, nah, it didn't work. I said, well, what happened? He said, well, I ran it in the Chicago Tribune. He's in Chicago. And I got only 2 patients. And I said, well, how much did it cost? He says, it cost $1,500. He ran it in his neighborhood. By the way, you guys who sell consumer to consumer, newspaper inserts is one of the least expensive ways of advertising. They're incredibly cheap. You can drop 20,000 inserts for $1,000. And that's what falls out of the newspaper onto the kitchen table when you're reading your paper in the morning. Some people throw them away, but you got to touch it to throw it away. And we'll get to later how you make that insert stand out in the crowd. But So they did this. This fellow did it. He did it in his neighborhood. That's the other great thing about newspaper inserts is you can buy, now they have it, you can buy by zip code. So you can buy the most expensive neighborhoods if that's your best buyer strategy and drop inserts in the newspaper on a regular basis. It's a great way of picking up patients, by the way, for dentists. So, and I'll give you the flyer, by the way, you dentists in the room. So anyway, I start drilling down on the 2 patients he got from it, and he figures they're worth collectively about $6,800 with the work that he got from them. So he spent $1,500 in the Chicago Tribune. The dentist, the clients are going to be worth $6,800 in lifetime value, and that's if neither one of them ever sends him a referral or brings another family member. So he didn't lose. But then another fellow said, well, I tried it and it worked great. And I said, well, what happened? He said, I got 38 patients from it. And I had just demonstrated with the first guy what 2 patients were worth. So I didn't have to do it with this guy with 38 patients. So anyway, the point is that you should have a very special effort to cultivate every single customer who comes in your door and willing to take them. Okay, so what's the lifetime value of your prospects? What's the initial purchase? And there's another document you have right here, page 32. This goes after Dream 100 in your binder when you put these things together. But this one says lifetime value of client, average unit of sale, my goal to improve, profit per transaction, frequency of turnover, current back ends. So there's a huge lesson right there on that one page. Okay. So what this just shows you, if you start to look at what they're worth to you, it changes how you think about your marketing entirely because you'll spend a lot more money on them to get them. So that's why some restaurants are like, I'm not going to give away a free meal. Well, it depends on who you're giving it away to. Let's go to my neighborhood where, you know, any person in that neighborhood is probably a frequent diner. We all eat out a lot, and we all wouldn't hesitate to go and spend $100 on a meal. So you could go around giving away a free dinner to everybody in that neighborhood. That'd probably be the smartest thing you'd ever want to do if you're opening up a restaurant. And yet they would think, giving away a free dinner, oh, you know, it's $100,000 a customer on the table here. You're not going to give away a free dinner where the hard cost is maybe $6 to you? Think, people, think. Workshop. All right, let's do the lifetime value of your best buyers. What's an initial purchase? Figure out what an average is. How often will they buy from you? How long will they buy from you? How much will they spend each time? What does all that add up to? Once you understand what the lifetime value of your client is, it enables you to make a much more intelligent decision about what you'd be willing to pay to get that client in the first place. So main philosophy, treat each client as if they were your only client. And at that restaurant, that's how I get treated, don't I? You know, the manager walks up and shakes my hand. They were having a wedding, and they were making everybody else park out so they could get the wedding. I got to park wherever I wanted to. You know, the manager comes over to the table. They buy me a drink. The waiter sees me and practically gives me a hug because I'm a good tipper. You know, training these guys, you know. You know, it's funny. Think of the lesson that is for your children. Where I call up there one night, and I got like 6 of us in the car, and we decided to go for dinner, and I call up and I go, you know, we got 6 people. We want to come for dinner. We're going to be there in 10 minutes. I'm sorry, sir. We're sold out. I go, is Richard there? That's the manager. Hold on one second. My kids are listening. I'm not thinking about this one way or the other. Got it on the speakerphone in the car, and he comes on, and I go, hey, Richard. And he goes, hey, Chad, how you doing? I go, I got 6 people. Can I get in 10 minutes? Absolutely, no problem. And, you know, my son goes, wow, that's really cool, Dad, you know. They like that, you know. So, and again, it's not that they were savvy enough to cultivate me as a client. It was that I was savvy enough to cultivate them as a restaurant that I know I can always get into with 8 people if I need to. They'll open up another section of the restaurant to take care of me. So, ways to treat your clients: take a deep interest in their success, take a deep interest in their life, provide them with remarkable special treatment, make special treatment automatic, build in standard procedures for special client treatment. Little things mean a lot. Send cards, write letters, special greetings, provide information. Cost to get a new client today is 6 times more than to sell a current client. Why? Because marketing. In fact, that statistic is about 5 or 6 years old. I'll bet it's 10 times more. The marketing has changed so dramatically. It's so expensive to get in front of people now. So 30% more of your clients will buy more products or services if you offer at the point of sale. So Scott Holman does a killer job on this tomorrow. He's going to make you all cry with how much money you've left on the table over the years, so I won't go that deep on it. But again, write down additional products or add-on services at the point of sale. You would be shocked at if you said to anybody when they're buying, would you like to do this? They'll buy it as well. So a downsell. Okay, we have events where we sell a $5,000 training program. So I have events now. It's a new strategy we're just using where we'll bring a bunch of people into a room. We'll give them a killer 3 or 4 hours of education. At the end, we'll sell this $5,000 training program. And then we thought, well, let's add a downsell to it. We add this $500 item, and we sold one or two, right? With one maybe. So we thought, okay, that's not really working, and let's just, leave it. And then I did another one, and we added a $99 item, and we sold 300 of them. So it was $30,000 in almost pure profit because training products, the hard cost is not that much money. You know what I'm saying? The hard cost of duplicating a disc is not that much. The real cost in training products is what it costs to get people to buy them. You know what I mean? It's huge. The marketing cost and, of course, cost of development is significant as well. So never forget to downsell if they don't buy your main offer. And that's something people just leave that money on the table all the time. And again, Scott does a really good job on this. Test various offers. Lessons I learned the hard way. This is a friend of Lisa's drew this, and so I just figured we used it in some of the promo pieces. I don't know if you saw it. Anyway, my first business model was to sell my services direct to clients. Results, high fees, tons of travel. I had 1 year where I did 45 out of 52 weeks on the road. I mean, my kids were like, Daddy, who? They had no idea who I was. Then I built a mass of products that could be sold by others. Results, no more travel, huge staff, highly volatile numbers, meaning that 1 month it would go up, another month it would go down. You could have 1 month where you sold $400,000 worth of product, and the next month you sell $100,000 worth of product, and you still have the staff, the secretaries, the buildings, the rent, etc. Then I built a subscription-based business, clients signing up for monthly help. Results, highly stable business that was very sellable. In fact, I sold it. It was a good business. How stable is your business? Is there a model that would make it more stable? So I just kept trying. I went from selling my services directly to building products and having a big staff of people selling them to then finding a subscription-based business. What that means is something people buy every month. They belong to it, whatever the heck it is. So is there something you could have where we belong to it, where we're getting some value, where you've got us buying every single month? Is there anything you can do like that that would, again, breeds regular loyalty? Okay, capitalizing on clients, condition your clients to buy from you regularly, build systems, policies, and procedures to constantly sell more standard products or services to current clients. Look at the value of a client to figure out what they might spend, what you might spend to get more clients, and then what's a client worth to you over the next 10 or 20 years. I mean, just if you figure that out, it will change how you think about your marketing. 3 additional products or services that you will offer, and again, those are all workshops in this document. So actively work. This is a referral concept. Make it easy for them. This is just the simplest thing in the world. I've had a lot of clients do it. It almost always works. The only time it doesn't work is when the salesperson is weak. But basically, I call it the Rolodex referral method. When you want new clients, you call up your current clients and say, hey, Joe, what are you doing right now? Oh, I'm blah, 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 blah. I say, can you spend a minute with me? Sure. Do you have your Rolodex handy? Sure. Go to your Rolodex, okay? Page through it. I want you to give me some guys who you think might use my services. And, people page through. And so I taught this in a seminar, and I have a broker. And the broker calls me up. He says, Chet, what are you doing right now? Got your Rolodex handy? 22 names I gave him, all players. I mean, all million-dollar investors. He's got several of them to this day. He started off in Dean Witter, and he became the Rookie of the Year out of 3,000 reps. This guy became #1 using the Rolodex referral method and the Dream 100 concept, meaning he used it to go after only the best buyers. Can you get them to write a letter to their friends and associates? Can you give them a reward for helping you find new clients? Don't forget the special treatment so that all referrals become clients for life. So I'm just trying to show you how you can build on things and build on things and build on things. And these are simple concepts, but you have to be, what? Pig-headed? Determined in order to get these things working in your business. Piggyback and fusion marketing. Find other companies who can sell your products or services to their clients. Airlines, auto rentals, hotels, they're all doing it now. You know, I mean, this is not a new concept, and yet some small companies just never bother to do it. What do the following companies have in common? A supermarket, a cola company, and a ski resort. This is an actual ad. Buy a case of Coke at Safeway and get a half price off of Heavenly Valley ski ticket. 3 companies got together, and they were all in the same ad. The ad ran 3 times more often, which helped all 3 advertisers, and it tripled the exposure for the money. It increased the name recognition, and it piggybacked on each other's business. So whoever put that deal together, that's like a coup. That's great work. So is there fusion partners for you where you can team up, you can spend less money working together, you can get a lot more exposure for your time and energy and effort? And again, a lot of times, the hardest part of this is teaching other people these things, so you might want to have to apply the Dream 100 effort to get that working. So who can you do a deal with right now? Who would be an ideal buyer? Just want you to write down one name. Who would be a great partner for you to work with in a fusion marketing effort? Go to those trade journals that service your industry and page through. And one of the things you do is you look for, especially if you're a player, you look for smaller companies because a lot of times they'd be beholden to you. Another way is to geographically located neighbors. So I know a pizza franchise that has built a tremendous business by giving coupons to every single company in their area. They gave them to the movie theaters. So when people would come in and they'd get their ticket, they'd give them a coupon for $2 off of a pizza at this brand new pizza place right down the street. So people would come out of the movie theater, head down to the pizza place right down the street. And they built this huge business by just doing what they call community marketing, by giving away free flyers to get people to come to their area. So what other sources could you use? Trade show is a great tool. The web is a fantastic tool. Every time I get a client, I go onto the web and I type in their kind of business using many different ways to describe it, and it always gives me great ideas for them. Why they don't do it themselves, I don't know. But, you know, imagine this. A client hires me. I do what's called an audit and then a report of findings. In the report of findings, I'll make like 10 suggestions for strategic partners, and they're going, wow, that's a great idea. Wow, that's a great idea. It took me 10 minutes on the web. Just type in their kind of business, and you get all kinds of ideas. It's just a fantastic resource. So you think you would have done that for yourself, but have you? What are some of the search terms for you to use? List some now. What would be some good search terms for you to use if you were looking for strategic partners? Write a couple of them down right now. Okay, so, of course, electronic databases are the soup-up Rolodex of the new millennium. You must have a highly manipulable database packed with information about your clients. Non-tech businesses at least keep excellent manual records. People will tell you anything if you make it multiple choice. I just did this with another client where when they come to his website, they fill in the basic information, and he used to try and ask them size of your business and how old you were, and they wouldn't tell him anything. They wouldn't fill in those things. But when you make it multiple choice, they will tell you anything. So it's like, are you 20 to 30 years old, 30 to 40 years old, 40 to 50? Anybody will do that. And, you know, if you ask me the size of my business, that's none of your business. But if you say, what range am I in, and I can pick within a range, almost everybody will answer those questions. So just a little tip for you. If you can add some multiple choice, you'll get terrific information from people. So what are the essential pieces of information? What additional information would you like your database, make your database even more valuable? This client of mine sells training products to financial planners, and just by adding 2 questions, it just totally changed the leads and the quality of them. And now when the leads come in, they get like 90 a day, and they've got 4 or 5 salespeople. You know who you want to call right away because the quality of the leads. So it really souped up. Test everything. Test offers, test headlines, test closing ideas, test add-ons, test. Traditionally, companies develop a campaign based on instinct and roll it out for a year to see how it would do. That's what most companies would do. Now many companies test several ideas, see which ones work best, and then roll it out. So when I sold advertising for a regional publication that covered only one state, nobody could ever sell the big national advertisers into that magazine, and then I went with this strategy and said, look, why don't you test it in our state, and if it works here, it'll work everywhere, because this is California, or the 8th largest economy in the world, you know, bigger than the other 168 countries, and you know, that strategy, they bought it, and I sold a ton of advertising to national advertisers, and the national magazines weren't even getting it, and they were like, how's he getting that? You know, they couldn't understand it. So let's see, more lessons learned the hard way. Jay Abraham and I did some radio advertising in LA to drive people to an event. When the first effort failed, we changed every single thing about the ad, the offer, the content, the approach, the message. After doing this 5 times, we found something that really worked well, but I still can't tell you what it was because every single thing about the thing changed. If you work with Jay, that's what his brain is like, Mr. Multitask. But we changed so many things in it that when the final ad finally worked, we really didn't know what about it worked. Like the $99 downsell. We tried the $500 downsell. It was so unsuccessful, we just abandoned it. And the next speaking engagement I did, we didn't offer downsell. Then just for the heck of it, on this recent one I did, we offered a $99 downsell. We sold 300 of them. I was like, oh, don't forget what you know, practice what you preach. So test all kinds of variables, and the more controlled you can make that, the better. I don't know if do you talk about that, Dave, at all? Okay. Fascinating web test. A client did some web testing. They set up their system so that every inquiry would go to a different of 5 websites. So that when you get the click, you go, and he had 5 different websites set up. And then they tracked the response, the time spent, the results, etc. And here's what they learned. The busier, more cluttered the website, the lower the response. Giving people tons of choices confuses them. Giving a direct scroll with specific instructions and then have the buttons for the next visit pulled 200% more response, and the prospect spent more time on the sites that gave clear instructions. So it's just a little extra side point for you. The more cluttered your website, the more stuff going on, the less the results and response. And again, Alex, I'm sure, can talk about that in ways I couldn't begin to. Today, you can have a technology that shows a different website each time a visitor goes there. Try different designs and watch what happens.
This was a Chet Holmes International production.